from the strut to the base of the car. So you'll see I have that strap hooked in with, these are called toe keys. So we have 3 different types. There's a big J hook, there's a mini J hook that Jamie just put in there, and there's a T hook, which is what I'm using right here. So this is how they tie down the cars as they're leaving Jeep, right? And you'll see that isn't super tight yet because I don't want it to be. Because the tighter I crank that, I can start pushing the car the other way. I want this to be a little loose, so when we load it, everything gets rocked out. With these straps, unlike when you go to like put drywall in the back of your pickup truck at Home Depot, you don't want to pull all the slack out and then ratchet it. You want at least 3 layers of that strap material on the drum, so we get the full rating of this strap, which is 3,000 pounds. Ratchet straps are a great tool, and to be honest, ratchet straps and come-alongs are like lie detector tests for rescue guys. If you tell me you're a rescue guy and you can't show me you have trouble with a ratchet strap or a come-along, you're not a rescue guy. It's idiot maker. So the straight pull like this is good, but if you're worried, maybe this thing's a little cockeyed, maybe one ends up on the curb, the other is not, or maybe you're on an embankment, right? Like this car rolled off the expressway or something. You might want to V the strap like we did over here. So you can see we just ran it through there, found another hole in the car, and we wrapped the strap through that D-ring on the base plate twice and sucked it into the car. Also, when that's helpful, is if you look in line with where that strut is, we have a good purchase point at the tip. It's called a multi-base tip. It's a little different, right, from what we use for French. It's got a chain slot in it, but we just find these purchase points and we grab it. We don't want to push off the vehicle suspension because that moves, right? But if there's nothing directly in line with this strut, that's another time where you're going to V it out like that, because it's just not, you have to tie it to something. But if I did one single piece and brought it over here, now I'm just trying to pull the base out, right? So that's another situation where you might V it out like that.
Real quick, Jake had it there started. I just wanted to move down here just to show you can rotate this. That kit's designed to fit a good ratchet place. So let's say that, like yesterday, the way their car was set up, their struts are coming off at angles. They have one on each side that's coming off at angles. The problem is, where's all the weight pushing here? So it wants to force those struts out that way, right? So one way to fix that, they had this set up on each side. Yep. You take another ratchet strap, go in between and tie them together, and I just created a truss, and then it'll accomplish the same thing.
And if you're going to tie them together, you're not going to do that most times, unless, like Jamie said, they're kind of angled out from each other. Don't super ratchet them in. You just want that to be snug, so if they do start to kick out, you're just preventing that from happening. You're not trying to tie them together, because now you're putting forces on this strut like 4 different ways.
This is my preferred way of doing it. Like Jake says, the better way. This is good. It depends on how severe this is and what we're going to be doing.
Say 80% of the time we probably end up doing this. I would guess on 7s, just because the car's in the middle of an intersection, right? It got T-boned and it literally just went.
Here's the other thing. You threw the step jack on the other side. They want to get to work. I'm coming up with a strut. If I'm coming up here and I got my first strut, I'm putting it where the heaviest part of the car is, so the motor. So if I put this strut in, no matter how I went, if I went straight in or whatever I did here, this strut's in, it's in place. I got it tied back to something. It's not going right. Can they start working on the car then, even though I don't have the second strut in place? Absolutely. This thing should be stable enough unless you feel it's totally, like it's teetering on something.
And you might see pictures where different departments like to put one strut in the middle, but to me, like, that might work sometimes, but it's a shortcut that, if, again, muscle memory, if that's what you do all the time that it is cockeyed or it's leaning too much, that'll be your go-to, because it's what you always do, and it's a bad practice to get into.
So my rule, I get the one set, it's tied back, they can start working, and then I come back, I put my second strut in, or whatever, my third or fourth strut, but they can get started, right? Also, you want to keep the tips relatively level, right? They need to be above the center of gravity, because I got the 12-inch extension on here or something like that, no extension in it, and I put my struts in here. Am I really stabilizing those? That's a big ass lever, right? I could flip them over that. So you want to try to be above the center of gravity. Try to keep them fairly level. That helps with some things. It's good practice. We understand there are times you can't do that. Yanks quit taping me. Also remember, this Acme thread, remember we talked about a thread. Woody can tell me I crank this with hand, put about 1,800 pounds of force, maybe 2,000 pounds of force, just like doing that by hand, and shove this over very easily. Also ratcheting the bases in, shortens that distance, so we push the top of the car over. There may be a time when we want to try to push, but typically we don't want to move the bit. We want to get it in the position it's in and stop it from any further. So we need to tie back to some, so we'll go back to that post back there for a chain.
If you want to take that short chain, we'll throw it over there, stretch out one of those ratchets, and then I'll show you guys how we can use this chain here.
That's the other thing. With your base straps, try to keep them as low as possible. What you don't want is that base strap coming up to here. You can get away with down here, but you know what I'm saying? You don't want that strap pulling it up like that. So he's gonna tie up there. We're gonna try to do this thing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. We're gonna try to get you guys more of those toe keys, because so that Joe is actually gonna go to this chain.
Yeah, which makes sense. You don't want to pull that
Yep.
out either.
So we're gonna try to find just about the middle of this. If we had more toe keys, which we're supposed to get you guys some, the nice thing is you can slide this chain right through that master link, the oval in the middle, and this will kind of self-center itself. So it makes it a little bit easier. Correct. So that's why I grabbed this. Is yes, you could use this to shorten that chain up, and if you were in a tighter spot or what have you. So,
So first, take that chain.
But it'll be like,
Wrap it
What are
around
you
there.
talking about?
well, so and we haven't talked about chain yet, but you never want to put the tip of the chain through the link. We'll fill you in more, but you actually want to grab the whole thing and grab the whole thing. And we'll tell you more details about about chain stuff when we talk about rigging.
Which one's the toe key?
The toe keys are that set. So the J hook is the big one.
Okay.
That's a T hook that Frank just touched, and then that's a mini J hook. Now the big oval piece, you have your own toe keys. So that middle one there, that takes you out.
You'll flip it up so it
Yep.
let it sit on the Good. Don't pull that tight.
I'm not.
When you do these, don't pull these super tight. You probably want to pull a little out of it just because it's like
what you say about 3 wraps now?
that ratchet.
Oh.
That's that
3 wraps. I thought you
wraps
were talking about
around it.
chain. I was
No.
like, wait, what?
You can wrap that chain, and I like to do. Like if you look on the other side, I wrap around one. It's not double choker. If I do those a lot, because then it slides. You probably got close enough.
Clean that down.
Send it out. Oops, set it out straight. It's gotta go flat.
Should be good.
Go ahead and let go.
There you go.
Do it there. You probably get 3 wraps on it. 1, 2, 3. So we got one. Keep going. Keep going.
Just get it taut.
Yep. Alright, so an issue with doing it like this
Good.
is that is not help.
No, yeah, so you're probably going to have to undo that and pull all that slack out.
Okay.
Because this needs to be
Tight.
tight.
Alright.
Now, we're not trying to pull the car, we're not trying to super load it, but we also need to pull the car back onto the struts a little bit.
Yep. The other thing is, we have those hooks that are going onto that chain link. That's not going to slide self-center. So you got to have it pretty close. It's going to load one way and not the other.
Let's see.
Now, we're not moving this thing. We're just holding it tight.
All right, there you go.
If we were doing something else, it'd be a different story.
Nope, no, you have to do them both. Because otherwise, good. So if you didn't tie this back, these struts really aren't doing a whole lot, right? Because again, we were worried about the car going that way. So that's why I've had a lot of discussions with people. They're like, well, why do we put the struts on this side if we're worried about it going that way? For this purpose. So this is just a kickstand. Think about how you put your kickstand out and you lean your bike over. That's basically what we're doing right here. So, yep, so now that you can feel this, remember how this was moving before?